What are the main issues in the EU-India relations?
Given the uncertainties in international politics, Daniela, it's important for both the actors to come together, because I feel that they are unions of diversity, committed to rules-based order, promotion of democracy, and human rights. These are the issues which have been highlighted in the EU-India Strategic Partnership Roadmap to 2025, the document which came last year after the EU-India Summit. More specifically, I think they can contribute to a much safer and secure world by looking at tangible outcomes on non-proliferation and disarmament, maritime security, green energy, counter-terrorism, with a focus on anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing. And also I think cyber-security would be important, to mention a few.
With regards to the upcoming EU-India Summit, what are the main issues that are going to be discussed at the summit, and what are critical aspects to look out for?
So when we look at the EU-India Summit, Daniela, we need to look at the first summit which took place in 2000. Interestingly, that took place in Portugal. And this summit is important because it's the first time where the summit would be having India and EU plus 27. So that already marks a very strong emphasis on building closer ties between the EU and India. Regarding the main issues, I think the main issues and the mammoth share of the discussions would be around trade, as has always been. Specifically, when we talk about trade, there'll be a lot of discussion on investment facilitation mechanisms. Also, there'll be discussions on regulatory frameworks. And something which has been a bone of contention for the longest time between EU and India is about tariff and non-tariff barriers, specifically when we talk about sanitary and phytosanitary standards. So that's the first, which is about trade. The second one would be about green economy. Most of them have been, both the actors have been talking about clean and green economy. So I think there'll be a lot of focus on that. EU has to ratify its laws. And it says that it will be one of the greenest continents by 2050. So that's something which needs to be taken into account. India has already shown its commitment to the Paris Agreement, even though the US moved out of it. So that's the second part. The third is basically looking at digital transitions. And I guess there'll be a lot of discussions on artificial intelligence and knowledge sharing when it comes to digital technology, especially because of the ongoing pandemic. The most important one is basically the Indo-Pacific strategy, and with the recent Council guidelines on the Indo-Pacific, I think there's a lot of importance given to the Indo-Pacific. So it'll be really interesting to see how they pan out in the discussions. Also because Indo-Pacific is becoming one of the most critical geographies where there'll be a lot of geostrategic power play which goes on in the region. So I guess these are key areas that we need to really look out for.
What are the main expectations from the Indian government to the EU regarding the summit? And do you think the EU can fulfill these expectations?
I think because of the ongoing pandemic, there is a lot of focus on trade and investment and diversification of global supply chains. And India would have huge expectations from the EU, specifically when it comes to these. The discussion on deglobalization wouldn't be true because the pandemic has brought together actors in different ways. So when we look at India, it has been, European firms have been trying to diversify their supply chains, and I think India is also keen on cooperating with such actors. India has been making a lot of efforts to come up with, to attract foreign investments, and though there have been problems when it comes to the bureaucratic structures, but India has improved its position when it comes to the World Bank's Ease of Business Index. So I think that will be one key area which will be important for the upcoming sort of summit. Coming to the second part of the question, the answer to that lies on the success of the free trade agreement, which the negotiations started in 2007, but they've been stalled in 2013. And it becomes specifically essential because India doesn't have, or India has stalled all the bilateral investment agreements with European countries. So I think it will be very important on where the FTA, how the FTA is discussed. Can the EU fulfill the expectations? I would say yes. But how it's going to do that is something we'll have to wait and watch.
What are the main challenges in fostering closer ties between the so-called natural partners, EU and India?
I think the biggest challenge that plagues the relationship is, or what I would call as a long-distance relationship, a clear perceptions expectations gap. So there are two things that needs to be understood here. One is the perceptions gap that they have, vis-a-vis themselves and vis-a-vis the other actors, other partner here. And the second is about the expectations gap. I think it's important for both to be clear of their own expectations and then think about the expectations from the other partner. It becomes especially important for the European Union because it is still considered to be a work in progress, and especially in a Westphalian state dominated international system. And so that's the first point where we talk about the gap between perceptions and expectations. The second is also about, from the Indian side, there are huge problems which create challenges for other actors to invest in India, especially when it comes to trade issues. Also, India has been giving mixed signals about openness, which I think has been a cornerstone for the relations between EU and India. At one level, we talk about the Make in India campaign and we try to invite or attract foreign direct investment. At the other level, we are stalling the negotiations, bilateral investment agreements with European countries. So I think there needs to be a bit more clarity on what their expectations are from themselves and to sort of match it with reality.
And what is your outlook, Siddharth, for the further development of the EU-India relations?
I think I'm quite an optimist when it comes to EU-India relations. But I feel that there is so much discussion on the what's of the relationship and not on the hows. If we look at, even if we just look at the first summit, which was in 2000, I think the teenage years are over now for EU and India, and with the new summit, I think they should really talk about the hows of their relationship and how to foster global closer ties with each other. And I think one possible area of cooperation would be the Indo-Pacific. India, of course, has shown its inclination to work with other partners in the region, like ASEAN, but I think EU is also, with the Council strategy that came so recently, I think there are good indications of and good chances that it might work.
Ein Angebot der Konrad-Adenauer-Stiftung.